Friends, family, and survivors. Isn't that nice? Gooseneck hitch, all ready for pulling the fifth wheel that's been adapted to a gooseneck. Dad put that plate in, by the way. He drilled the holes and figured it all out, and all I did is run the nuts up tight. So I've got the brake unit and plug for the trailer there. Got 4 of these tires for $150. And the guy, it was a company, a landscaping company, and they just didn't balance well on the freeway at 70 miles an hour. So I took them to Les Schwab, and they mounted them up on these rims for me, and they balanced. Took a lot of lead, but they balanced them. They're good. There's all 0-0. So that was a good price, 4 tires for $150. I finally have this thing running, and the electrical sorted out. I haven't bought a new low plug controller. I'm going to convert it to a new type, which I have a brand new one in a box, but right now it's a manual button. And I should have running lights now, which I had no running lights at all. So that's a happy thing. Need to get a couple of bulbs for the clearance lights. That's running. That's happy. Changed the headlight switch out and the dimmer switch on the floor. The contacts aren't real good in this, but I think it'll get better as it gets used. But we've got the turn signals working now, so that's a happy day. And the windshield wipers, the motor was dead, so I had to change the windshield wiper motor. Let me turn this off so I don't have to yell over it. The electrical has had mice eating on the insulation, and so I just find the bad spots and wrap them up. I've had to add another fuse block, so I've got a 50 amp resettable circuit breaker here. Then I'm a 30 amp fuse going out to the brake controller here. This is auxiliary going out for the charge circuit on the fifth wheel. And I've got a relay to boost the power. I don't like the line that's supplying the running lights. The voltage is a little bit low, so I don't know if it's a bad contact, but they didn't work at all. So I had to find one spot that worked, and then I'm going to slave off of that with a relay. So I'm going to find the one signal that's good. It's going to close a relay, go through a fuse, and then out to all the lights. And then I know I'll have good power out to the lights, but the relay won't be until this afternoon. So trying to clean this stuff up. This is the fusible link right here for the solenoid for the glow plugs. Now I've found that I've got a leaking block heater, and I don't know if it'll seal up when I drive it, but it's just barely dripping. But you know, this thing's been parked for a long time, and I didn't have any idea how long it had been parked. I don't think we ever even looked at that until yesterday. So there it is. It's been parked since '09, and possibly parked longer than that, right? But it is what it is. Got new shocks on the back. The new shocks for the front will be here in a day or so. So it's got new brakes, new shocks, rebuilt transmission, and new tires. And I'm also waiting for a crazy thing, as I ordered a new hydraulic line for the clutch, because you can't buy these O-rings. Ford doesn't even sell them. They're proprietary. They'll sell you a whole kit. So I ordered a kit that's a braided Aeroquip aircraft grade hose, and they sent it with one roll pin and one O-ring. not 2 roll pins and 2 O-rings. So I've got to drive back to town tomorrow and trade that in. They were really good about it. I ordered it online, and they said, well, take it to a local store. And it was O'Reilly's, and they said, take it to a local store. They'll have a new one there for you. And can I give you a $15 gift card? So they're a great outfit. It's not their fault that somebody forgot to put an O-ring in. I mean, it's not O'Reilly's fault. It's their supplier's fault, but it's not O'Reilly's fault. So this thing had, before we bought it, they had put new injectors in it and a newer pump. And that could almost mean anything, but it doesn't smoke at all when it's running. So that's a good sign. I don't detect any missing. And this is definitely what they would consider an EMP-proof vehicle. There are no electronics on it at all. There's an electric solenoid for the fuel shutoff right there, and that's it. So we're getting a lot closer. The hood release cable was just rusted and hammered, and so, you know, I did down and dirty, just pull on that, and that pops the hood just fine. I mean, you could spend, you know, you could spend a lot of money totally restoring a rig, right? This one needed new mirrors and all of that. But the bones are good, and it's not rusted out at all. Can't find any rust. And the cab looks pretty good inside. And the bushings on the front end are good. They're not pulled out, which is very typical for these twin I-beam four-wheel drive F-250s. I wouldn't even buy one when they first came out. I bought the 350 so I could have a stiff front axle. But as long as you're not backing up a steep, muddy hill with a cord of green madrone wood in the back, the front ends can handle it. And they'll pull forward loaded just wonderfully. But you back up a steep hill with a heavy load and put all that torque on the front end, you'll pull the bushings out of these things. And so you just have to be wise about it. So I think I'll probably throw a winch back on this thing. It's got the fair leads already here, and it's got a receiver hitch in the front. And it's going to be a mountain truck. It's only going to go to town when it has to. And, you know, I don't have to drive to town. I think, you know, going to town from where the new homestead is, oh, you can go 55 in places, but it's probably safer to go 50 most of the way. And when it's bad weather, sometimes it's just 15 miles an hour all the way to town like it is today. I just looked at going over 140 and it's just packed snow, completely packed snow. Just getting started with that. So the next phase of this thing is going to be putting the solar on that roof. It's prepped and ready, and I got these rich solar panels, which are made in India, shipped for $80 a piece. They're 100 watt polycrystalline, and I just don't think you could beat that price. And I looked at the construction of the cells, the junction boxes. I didn't pop the lids on the junction boxes and look at the termination on the diodes, but I have seen videos of it, and they seem fine. The fitment on the frame is better than it used to be. They're also heavier than they used to be by a few pounds. So $80 a piece for a 12-volt panel, I just don't think you can beat that. So the VMP on these match, this particular one matches the Renogy monocrystalline cell. So that'll give, I have one spare of that, so that'll give me 500 watts of solar on the fifth wheel. A 2000 watt pure sine inverter. I've got a spare 60 amp TriStar PWM, and I'm deliberately using a PWM on this trailer because if there's any shading at all, like from one of the roof vents or something, and I've got a MPPT up there, it'll shut the power down. So you can have a little shading with PWM, and it's not the end of the world. So I'm having to run number 4 welding cable from the roof all the way to the charge controller. Yep, that's right, number 4. Big stuff for the solar side of things. And I've got 2 lithium ion batteries coming, so it'll have 200 amp hours of lithium ion phosphate and a battery monitor. And I haven't found a good way to bring the stuff down from the roof without putting another massive hole in the roof. And I hate putting holes in the roof. I hate it. And this one's never had any extra holes put in it. It's a plywood roof with one sheet of aluminum over the top. And that's what I like about the Alpenlights. It's not that rubber stuff. It's just sheet aluminum. I want to leave it that way. I don't even want to put a screw in it if I can help it. So I'm actually, since it's temporary, I'm thinking about just running the solar wires, which is welding lead, down the ladder and just across the back of the bumper and up into the one storage compartment right there where all the goodies are going to be. And I think since we're only going to be in it 4 or 5 months, that ought to be good enough. If we decide down the road to leave the solar on it, then yeah, I'll probably put one of those entry glands on the roof and put dichlor sealant, all that, and run it down into a cabinet somewhere. It just takes a lot of time to do it right, and I just right now don't have time. So we'll go the down and dirty route to get us power and get up on the mountain and put our energy into getting the house finished before snowfly next year. So that's where we're at. All right. Hope everybody's doing well, and remember to be thankful.